So today I want to talk about and speculate on the future of the internet. So the internet used to be, the ARPANET, and universities had email addresses to one another. And that was the extent of it. And then I probably should have done a little more research, but you had email addresses and RSS feeds after that, and then you had forums, and I guess maybe chat rooms too. Okay. And you had forums. And then finally you had the social media age, right? And
sometimes you just want
there's a lot of good about the social media age, but the bad's outweighing the good nowadays.
If your edge is looking good
because
at halftime, cash out and secure
the owners of the websites dictate the terms, right? And it's just kind of getting annoying, in my opinion. Stuff you can't say and stuff you get, especially on X. X is so bad. This post visibility is limited, and it's just really, X is unusable. Personally, I want a free speech website with a block button. That's all I want. A free speech website with a block button. And I found one on the Fediverse, right? So the Fediverse, is what I'm looking for. But the problem is that reading on the Fediverse is not that great. The problem with social media is the consumption of it. It's hard to find stuff that you really like. And I think that's what algorithms are trying to solve. They're trying to solve this problem of everybody has a platform and nobody's interested in anybody else. So they're trying to tailor content toward you specifically, which I endorse, okay? But the problem is that they are also limiting what gets allowed on the platform initially, and I have a problem with that. I want to be able to pick and choose what I want to listen to without the social network itself determining for me what I can and can't see or consume. I don't like that. YouTube is censorial, X is censorial, Facebook's censorial. Now, they're not as bad as Facebook and YouTube aren't as bad as they used to be. X is actually worse than it used to be from a censorship perspective. So my question is, how do you incentivize the creation of new social media sites to compete with these so that people like me are satisfied? There's a lot of problems with social media as far as how to implement it and have a satisfying user experience. Because you have people who are banned, okay, who I don't think should be banned, and people I want to listen to that are banned. That's a big problem. So how do you incentivize creating platforms where they're not banned? That's number one. Number two, which is really an extension of the first question, how do you incentivize more platforms to allow for free speech or whatever you're looking for from a social network? I'm looking for free speech. So how do you get more free speech? The creation of more free speech platforms. Like, okay, we have the Fediverse. That's great. I like the Fediverse. And there's a block button, so I can block all the people I don't like to look for the gold I do like. That's great. I like that. That's wonderful. But how do you incentivize, number one, more people to come to the Fediverse so that there's more gold? Right, gold meaning a good post. How do you incentivize more people to come to the platform so that there's more gold? Right, because if there's a massive flood of people on the Fediverse, there's going to be a lot more dirt, but there will also be more gold. So how do you incentivize gold? Number one. Number two, how do you incentivize the creation of other instances on the Fediverse or things like the Fediverse to prevent Facebook censorship or YouTube censorship or X censorship from happening again? Now you could do it on a small scale.
Sometimes you
Reddit
just want to laugh
Reddit
at
is
bad
not
girls.
exactly like this. It's similar because there's a lot of
Software cash out,
communities and
you don't
there's
have to solve the whole
moderators and
game.
things
You're
like
just
that.
looking good at hash.
But the problem I have is that I don't like the users on Reddit. I don't like them. So what do you do when you're trying to find people that you actually like online, right? That to me, I think, is the hardest part for me. Is how do I find people I actually like to listen to? Because I don't like listening to most people. I don't want to read what most people have to say. I'm looking for the few who say things that I personally find insightful. And I'm not sure how you can incentivize that. Should everybody be on this site? Sure, that's fine. Okay, I do think you need a wide net, a wide network, a wide platform to allow people to speak, and you need to give people a block button. I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't want a moderator or someone determining to me what I can say and what I can't say. I want to be able to do that as a user. Give me complete freedom as a user to say what I want to say and read what I want to read. And really, the Fediverse is the only place like that right now, okay? But the problem is that there's not enough users on it. So, there's not enough stuff that I want to read on the Fediverse. That's my issue with the Fediverse. So my question is, how do you incentivize either the growth of the Fediverse or things like the Fediverse where it's like Reddit as far as there being niches, but without the Reddit mods? You see what I'm saying? Without the Reddit mods. Because Reddit is just, it's dog crap. It's pure, utter dog crap. The people who post on there post some of the dumbest things I've ever read in my life. I don't want to be on Reddit. There's block limits, there's all kinds of things. It's a really shitty website, for me personally. And it's one of the biggest social networking sites out there. It's like, it's up there with Facebook, X, YouTube, and all the rest of it. So how do you incentivize, what's someone like me to do is what I'm saying. I hate Reddit. Reddit's big. I despise Reddit. I despise the users of Reddit. It's dog shit. So what's someone like me to do when there's potential for, because of the existence of the internet, to find things that are enjoyable to read, but you can't find it because what exists is something like Reddit, which is dog shit. How do you incentivize alternatives to Reddit that aren't dog shit? How do you incentivize alternatives to X that aren't dog shit? How do you incentivize YouTube alternatives to YouTube that are not dog shit? That is the $1 million question that I don't know, and I'm trying to answer that through the history of the internet, where you started with email addresses from universities, then you go to forums, and then you go to the big social media website, and chat rooms too. Then you go to the big social media websites. What's the future look like? I do think the Federation is possibly the future, but how do you get people on the federated network? And a more general question is, and I think this is really the point I'm getting at, the problem with the internet today is twofold. Number one is because it's so heavily moderated, you just have a lot of people who don't want to be together. Right? There's so much discontent because of the moderation. YouTube's getting better, Facebook's getting better, X is getting worse, Reddit has always been terrible. There's a lot of discontent because of the moderation. So what do you do about that? Where's the alternatives that are either not moderated or moderated to the degree that people like me would like them to be? Right? How do you incentivize the creation of more things on the Fediverse that are alternatives to Reddit, or however you want to describe it. I don't know how you incentivize the creation of instances on the Fediverse, right? I don't know what the alternative is to the way we do social media today, which is everyone's together and there's a heavy-handed moderator who dictates what's on the instance or the website. Like even Gab ended up doing this. Gab used to be, we're free speech alternative. And no, you actually weren't. You were at first, but then you had a bunch of boomers complaining about free speech on there. And so Torba started censoring everybody. So, how do you incentivize more Torbas who don't censor? How do you incentivize more networks, more choices, so that you don't have this scenario where Alex Jones is getting banned from YouTube, or whoever is getting banned from, Stefan Molyneux is getting banned from X or whatever, or Reddit is just a piece of dog shit? How do you incentivize this not happening with your social networking sites? How do you incentivize the creation of more social networking sites? More variety, more choices, right? I'm not sure how you incentivize that. I really don't. Because people, I don't really want to pay a subscription service for something that I've had for free that was better. So are the hobbyists going to create their own servers on the Fediverse, and that's kind of the future of the internet? I don't know, I don't know what the future is. But I don't like where it's at now. I don't want somebody else determining what I can say, and I don't want somebody else determining what I can see. But that's the nature of the internet today. It's heavily moderated. So you can't say what you want to say, and you can't read what you want to read, and that defeats the point of the internet. So how do you get more options? That's my question. I mean, I'm really curious. People will pay for subscription services to shitty streaming services. They'll pay for shitty sports video games. So how do you get them to pay for things like X? Right? Which I'm fine for that model. I'm fine for that being a model. If you want to have a subscription service, that's fine. But if you have a subscription service just to be able to post when we've already had this for free, I don't think that would work. I think the Twitter financial model's fine, but how do you have a Twitter or an X without being heavily moderated? The Fediverse, has a bunch of instances that are moderated in a bunch of different ways, but there's more options, so you can pick and choose which one you want to go to, how you want it to be moderated, which is what we need. We need more choice like that. But the question is, how do you incentivize that? How do you incentivize not only more instances, but how do you incentivize people going to those instances? There has to be so much discontent with the current situation that they're willing to go, and even then I'm curious what it's going to be like, because there's video alternatives to YouTube, but they're not that big, so nobody uses them. So what's the tipping point, and where does it shake out? I want to know where this goes, because right now I like the Fediverse because I don't like X, but I'm still content with YouTube, even though it's kind of a dog shit service. And I'm just curious how we get to a situation where someone like me is actually content with the state of social media. I don't know how we get there, and I'm curious how we do. I'm running out of space. Sorry, cliffhanger.